Stop telling everyone what happens in your life. Silence is your greatest weapon. The moment you speak, you hand over your power to be judged, misunderstood, or controlled. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't speak to be heard. They spoke with purpose. In a world obsessed with validation and constant sharing, your ability to stay silent becomes a form of discipline and dominance. Today, I'm giving you 9 powerful Stoic lessons that will forever change how you guard your energy and protect your mind. These teachings will help you master emotional control, sharpen your focus, and walk with quiet confidence. This isn't about being secretive. It's about being selective, about owning your peace. So before we begin, smash that like button, comment, "Silence is strength," and subscribe for more wisdom that rewires your thinking and strengthens your soul. This video is your wake-up call. Stay locked in. 1. Guard your inner world. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That quote alone could be a shield to carry with you through life. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself and start preserving your energy, you become untouchable. Most people speak to impress. They chase approval, drop hints of success, or overshare their struggles, all to be validated. But validation is a trap. When you open your mouth to win others over, you give them a piece of your mind, and worse, a piece of your power. The Stoic doesn't speak to be admired. The Stoic speaks with purpose, or not at all. Your inner world is sacred. Your goals, your setbacks, your growth. That's not public property. That's yours. When you keep it private, you keep it protected. Silence isn't weakness. It's a shield. It's control. What the world doesn't know, it can't manipulate. What the crowd doesn't hear, it can't twist. Guard your energy like it's currency, because it is. In a noisy world that worships oversharing, choose to become rare. Choose to become still. Your silence forces people to pay attention to your actions, and your actions will always speak louder than your explanations. This doesn't mean you isolate. It means you become intentional. You don't tell everyone what you're working on. You show them when it's done. You don't defend your decisions. You make them with clarity. You don't seek sympathy. You seek solutions. When you protect your inner world, you walk with power, because you're no longer pulled by the opinions of others. You begin to move with calm authority, knowing that your progress doesn't need permission, that your growth doesn't need to be announced to be real. So, the next time you feel the urge to explain your goals, your plans, or your pain, pause. Choose calm over commentary. Choose action over explanation. Choose strength over noise. Let them underestimate you. Let them guess. Because while they're talking, you're building. While they're judging, you're evolving. And while they're focused on what you're not saying, you're becoming everything they never saw coming. Guard your inner world. That's not just Stoic discipline, that's power. 2. Do not seek validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That line is a mirror. Hold it up and see what it reflects. So many speak not to share, but to be seen. Not to express truth, but to extract validation. That's the hidden motive behind telling everyone your next move. You want someone to approve it before you act. You want someone to say, "That's smart. You'll crush it. You're on the right path." But here's the Stoic truth. If your direction depends on applause, you're not moving from strength. You're moving from insecurity. Real confidence is forged in silence. It's built in those moments when no one's watching, and you still show up. When no one claps, and you still commit. when the only validation comes from you, and it's enough. You must break the habit of announcing your goals just to feel seen. That's not strength. That's need, and need will always weaken you. The more you look outward for validation, the less rooted you are in your own vision. The crowd's opinion shifts with the wind. Yours must stand like a mountain. Stop sharing every detail of your life just to hear someone say, "Good job." Tell yourself that. Know it internally. Master your own inner scoreboard. Praise yourself when no one else does. That's the foundation of unshakable confidence. Because when your belief in yourself comes from within, no critic can shake it, and no praise can inflate it. Let your actions echo louder than your announcements. Build in silence. Move in silence. And when your results speak for themselves, they'll say everything you didn't need to. You don't need to convince anyone of your greatness. You just need to stay consistent, focused, and relentless behind the scenes. Validation is addictive, and like all addictions, it weakens your self-reliance. Break the cycle. Detach from the need to be approved. Not everyone will understand you. That's okay. You're not here to be understood. You're here to become who you were meant to be. And becoming requires you to walk through doubt, through solitude, through silence. So, the next time you're tempted to post your goals, share your plans, or ask for someone's reassurance, pause. Ask yourself, who am I doing this for? If the answer isn't you, it's not worth it. Do not seek validation. Seek clarity. Seek discipline. Seek purpose. And let your life become the loudest response to those who ever doubted your path. 3. Speak through your actions. Seneca taught, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. And one of the greatest ways people waste time today is by talking instead of doing." They post, they announce, they narrate every move, but nothing real is built in words. Talking about your goals, your dreams, your next step, it gives you the illusion of progress. Your brain gets a hit of dopamine. You feel like you've done something, but you haven't. You've spoken, not moved. The Stoics knew better. They didn't waste energy on broadcasting. They conserved that power. They spoke through action, through results. That's how you build real influence. Not by telling everyone what you will do, but by showing them what you did without ever saying a word. Action is your real voice. Action is your true statement. Action doesn't lie. When you live this way, you develop quiet strength, a presence. People feel it without you needing to explain. And more importantly, you stay focused. Talking scatters energy. Acting concentrates it. When you speak too soon about your ambitions, you invite outside opinions, distractions, doubts. And worst of all, you train your mind to feel rewarded before the work is done. That's a dangerous cycle. It kills momentum before it begins. Your power multiplies when you let your success speak for itself. When you don't announce your moves, no one can block them. When you don't explain your vision, no one can dilute it. Silence protects. Silence focuses. Silence builds. Every moment spent talking is a moment not spent building. Every update you post is a part of your power you've given away. And the more you give away, the less you have when it really counts. So flip the script. Don't declare. Deliver. Don't promise. Produce. Let people wonder what you're up to. Let them see the change instead of hearing about the plan. That's how the Stoic moves. Calm, focused, relentless behind the scenes. They don't need praise to move. They don't need permission to grow. They don't need an audience to act. Start replacing your announcements with action. Let your routine become your statement. Let your consistency become your volume. Because in a world full of noise, silence backed by action is the loudest message of all. Keep the world guessing, not because you're hiding, but because you're building. And when the time comes to show what you've built, no one will question your path. They'll respect your discipline. Remember, what the world doesn't see, it can't sabotage. Speak through your actions. That's where real power lives. 4. Develop inner resolve. Zeno said, "Man conquers the world by conquering himself." That isn't just philosophy. It's a roadmap to power. Most people today are driven by a desperate need to be heard, seen, and validated. That's why they overshare. That's why they tell everyone their plans, their struggles, their victories. But all of that noise is rooted in one thing: weakness. Not the kind the world sees, but the kind that lives inside. The Stoic understands this. That's why they choose silence. That's why they protect their inner world. Because oversharing is not strength. It's surrender. It's leaking energy. It's handing your emotional state over to others, hoping they'll handle it with care. But they rarely do. When you choose to keep your journey private, you begin to develop something rare in this loud world: inner resolve. You stop needing applause. You stop needing advice. You stop needing someone to agree before you act. And in that silence, your will hardens. Your focus sharpens. You become someone who moves not because the world tells you to, but because you decided. That's power. That's discipline. That's Stoicism. Every time you resist the urge to speak, to explain, to post, it's a rep for your mind. It's you lifting the weight of solitude and growing stronger for it. When you train this muscle consistently, you no longer fear being misunderstood. You don't care if they know your next move. You don't flinch when they doubt you, because your direction doesn't come from them. It comes from within. Privacy becomes your battlefield for strength. Silence becomes your weapon, and your mind becomes your command center. Clear, focused, undistracted. Most people have no idea the power of restraint. They equate silence with weakness. But the Stoic knows better. Silence is not weakness. It's strategy. It's control. It's the space where great things are built. Let them talk. Let them wonder. You stay in the lab. You stay disciplined. You stay focused on the internal battle, because that's the only one that matters. Develop inner resolve, and there's nothing the world can do to shake you. People will ask what you're working on. Smile. Say nothing. Let time reveal what focus has created. Zeno didn't say conquer the world by convincing others. He said, conquer yourself. That means mastering your emotions, your impulses, your need for external reassurance. That means holding the line when others fold. That means moving in silence while others scream for attention. Your strength is not in your volume. It's in your discipline. So, next time you feel the urge to explain your goals or justify your process, pause, breathe. Remember who you're becoming, and choose silence. Not because you're hiding, but because you're building. Not because you're afraid, but because you're focused. Let your results be your voice. Let your work be your explanation. Let your discipline be your proof. Develop inner resolve, and nothing external will have the power to disturb you. That's the Stoic edge. That's real freedom. That's real strength. 5. Let your success make the noise. The Stoics didn't shout about their victories. They didn't post every step, every plan, or every win. They lived by a deeper law: virtue over vanity. They knew that real power doesn't need an announcement. It shows itself through discipline, through results, through unshakable presence. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote not for the world, but for himself. That's why Epictetus taught freedom through mastery of the self, not the approval of others. The world may applaud noise, but the Stoic respects silence. In today's world, silence is misunderstood. Everyone's broadcasting, telling the world about their next move, their latest project, their future plans. They do it for likes, for claps, for a hit of temporary significance. But the Stoic knows, if you need the world to notice your grind isn't deep enough. If you need others to validate your process isn't rooted in purpose. Your progress is for you. Your mission is personal. Your success doesn't need a hype man. It needs execution. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. They're overcompensating. They're insecure. True confidence doesn't need to talk. It walks. It shows up. It delivers. It builds when no one's watching. It sharpens in solitude. And when the time is right, it doesn't announce. It arrives. People can't attack what they can't see. They can't sabotage what they don't know exists. When you move in silence, you stay untouchable. No one can block your path if they don't know you're walking it. No one can poison your plans if they never heard them. Privacy is protection. Secrecy is strategy. Keep your circle tight. Keep your plans tighter. Let your results speak so loudly that you never have to. Let them gossip. Let them wonder. Let them sleep on you. You don't owe them a preview. You owe yourself the masterpiece. And the only way to create that is through focused work, not external noise. When you pour all your energy into the building, not the boasting, you grow. You evolve. And eventually, your transformation becomes undeniable. The same people who ignored your process will be stunned by your result. That's why the Stoics didn't waste words on self-praise. Their goal wasn't admiration, it was alignment. Their mission wasn't popularity, it was virtue. Seneca said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In the same way, the best success isn't shown through words, it's embodied through actions. It's not about proving them wrong, it's about becoming so right with yourself that nothing external can shake your direction. So, the next time you feel the urge to post about your grind, pause. The next time you want to share your next move with someone who hasn't earned that access, wait. Don't give them the blueprint to what's sacred. Don't trade power for attention. Let your success make the noise. Because real strength doesn't scream. It doesn't beg to be seen. It doesn't need confirmation. Real strength works. Real strength builds. Real strength finishes what others only talk about. Move in silence. Build in secret. And when the time comes, let your actions roar so loudly the world has no choice but to listen. 6. Control the narrative by saying less. The less you say, the more power your words carry. In a world obsessed with constant noise, silence is your competitive advantage. Most people speak without thinking, revealing their fears, weaknesses, and intentions without realizing it. They hand away power every time they overshare. But the Stoic? The Stoic chooses restraint, not out of fear, but out of strength. Because when you speak less, you say more. Every word lands with force. Every sentence becomes strategy. Every silence builds mystique. In business, saying less is how you control leverage. The moment you expose all your goals, all your moves, all your frustrations, you hand over the upper hand. People know how to react, how to manipulate, how to delay you. But when you keep things to yourself, you stay unpredictable. You maintain control. You become the one who sets the tone, not the one who responds to it. In relationships, saying less keeps your emotions from being used against you. The Stoics understood this. They didn't let temporary emotions dictate permanent conversations. They paused, they reflected, and when they spoke, they did it with purpose. You don't need to explain everything. You don't need to prove your point every time. When you speak with calm certainty, your presence says enough. That's Stoic composure. That's real maturity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You always own the option of having no opinion." That's power. Because silence creates mystery. Mystery creates influence, and influence wins. Most people give away their influence for the comfort of being understood. But not you. You hold your line. You speak only when it serves your mission, not your ego. When you say less, you also free your energy. You're not constantly defending yourself, justifying your life, or seeking approval. You're conserving your power. You're focusing your mind. And you're using your voice like a weapon, not a crutch. The fewer words you use, the sharper they cut. You're not just talking, you're commanding attention. That's how you control the narrative. There's an old saying, never tell people everything you know. The same applies to your plans, your emotions, your life. Let others talk. Let them reveal their playbook. You stay composed. You stay quiet. You stay 2 steps ahead. Don't mistake silence for weakness. It's strategic restraint. It's leadership. It's strength. When you choose your words carefully, when you let your presence do most of the talking, you become someone others respect because they can't figure you out. You become the calm in the chaos, the still force in the storm. So speak less, mean more. Watch how your value rises. Watch how your presence shifts rooms. Because when you say little, but mean everything, you don't just talk, you lead. 7. Avoid energy drainers. Not everyone deserves access to your story. That's a truth the Stoics lived by, and one you must adopt if you want peace, power, and clarity. Some people don't listen to understand. They listen to respond, to compete, to twist your words. They take your vulnerability and turn it into entertainment. They turn your progress into something to mock. They don't deserve your story. They don't deserve your presence. And they absolutely do not deserve your energy. The Stoics were clear about this. Seneca warned, associate with people who are likely to improve you. He didn't say entertain everyone. He didn't say open your heart to anyone who asks. He said, choose wisely. That means you must become ruthless with your boundaries. If someone drains your energy, steals your focus, or pollutes your peace, you owe them silence, not explanations, not arguments. Silence. Your energy is sacred. Your time is limited, and your emotional space is not a public playground. Stop sharing your goals with people who've never built anything. Stop revealing your fears to people who wouldn't know what to do with them. Stop opening up to people who haven't earned the right to hold your truth. When you let energy drainers into your life, you leak momentum. You bleed focus. You dim your fire to accommodate their shade. That is a betrayal of your mission, and you're better than that. Being kind doesn't mean being accessible to everyone. Being stoic doesn't mean tolerating energy thieves. It means guarding your mind like a fortress. It means being deliberate with your presence, your voice, and your attention. You do not need to explain your silence. You do not need to justify your boundaries. You simply need to live in a way that protects your highest self. The people who truly support you won't drain you. They'll challenge you, uplift you, remind you of your strength when you forget it. If someone's always negative, always gossiping, always pulling you away from your vision, cut them off internally. You don't need a dramatic exit, just less access, less detail, less of you. Energy is currency. Spend it where it multiplies, not where it's stolen. And remember this: not every connection deserves closure. Some just deserve distance. Choose calm over chaos, depth over noise, alignment over attachment. That's how the Stoic wins, not by shouting their truth to the wrong people, but by preserving it for the right ones. 8. Embrace Stoic stillness. Stillness isn't weakness, it's presence. It's power under control. It's the unshaken core in a world that's constantly spinning, shouting, reacting. When you embrace stillness, you don't become passive. You become precise. You begin to hear your own voice louder than the noise of the world. And in that silence, truth rises. The Stoics understood this deeply. Stillness was not escape, it was preparation. It was how they sharpened their judgment, purified their motives, and aligned with what actually mattered. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop trying to prove your worth to everyone around you, something powerful happens. You find your center. You realize how much energy you were wasting chasing shadows, approval, recognition, validation. The Stoic doesn't seek noise. The Stoic seeks clarity, because clarity gives you power. And clarity is born in stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." That's the battlefield. That's the sanctuary. That's the throne room of your power. But you only reach it when you pull back from the noise, from gossip, from oversharing, from trying to be seen. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting with purpose, speaking with weight, moving with calm certainty. It means being deliberate, not reactive, intentional, not impulsive. The more still you become inside, the less chaos can control you outside. Your environment might be loud, but you are unmoved. You are anchored. Practice being still. Practice being unknown. Most people fear being forgotten. The Stoic welcomes it, because in obscurity, you become real. You're not performing. You're not curating your image. You're not addicted to validation. You're simply doing the work, building the character, becoming the force. That's where real growth happens, not in the spotlight, but in the silence. Not in applause, but in solitude. Stillness is not for the faint of heart. It requires you to face your thoughts, your flaws, your fears. But that's exactly why it makes you powerful. Because when you can sit with discomfort without needing distraction, when you can breathe through the tension without reacting, you become untouchable. So be still, be disciplined, be grounded. Let the world race. You don't need to prove your speed. You only need to walk your path with quiet strength. In a world that moves too fast, stillness is a superpower. In a world that overshares, silence is a sword. And in a world that's lost its center, the Stoic stands firm, not shaken, not shouting, but still. 9. Live for purpose, not praise. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." He didn't say, impress them. He didn't say, be liked by them. He said, associate. Build your circle around growth, not applause. In a world where everyone's broadcasting their lives, chasing likes, and hungering for recognition, the Stoic walks a different path. You don't live for noise. You live for meaning. And that's what separates the fulfilled from the forgotten. If your self-worth rises and falls with opinions, you'll never be free. You'll be a prisoner to perception, a slave to feedback. But when you live for purpose, everything changes. You don't need applause to move forward. You don't need eyes to validate your vision. Your work speaks because it's aligned, not advertised. Most people perform. They edit their lives for public approval while their private lives crumble under the weight of inauthenticity. Your mission must be internal, rooted, silent, sacred. It doesn't need hashtags or spotlights. It needs consistency. It needs action. The Stoic doesn't ask, "Do they see me?" He asks, "Am I aligned with my values?" That shift, right there, is freedom. When you stop trying to impress and start trying to improve, your whole energy transforms. You start showing up different, calmer, clearer, focused. Praise feels good, but it's fleeting. Purpose, on the other hand, is fuel. It sustains you in the dark, in the quiet, in the moments when no one's watching. That's what real strength looks like. Not being celebrated, but being solid. You don't need everyone to get you. You don't need everyone to cheer you on. Most of them are too distracted to even understand the road you're on, and that's okay. You weren't made to be understood. You were made to be fulfilled. Let your mission guide your mouth. Speak when it adds value. Stay silent when it protects your peace. You don't need to explain every move, justify every step, or showcase every win. You're not building a brand. You're building a life. That takes depth. That takes vision. That takes purpose. So next time you're tempted to post, to tell, to prove, pause. Ask yourself, is this for growth or is this for praise? If it's for praise, let it go. If it's for growth, do it quietly. Let your legacy speak, not your ego. Because when you live for purpose, the right people feel it. The wrong people fade. And the noise? It doesn't reach you. You're too focused, too grounded, too in tune with what truly matters. Live for something eternal, something true, something only you and your conscience can measure. That's the Stoic way. Calm, clear, unshaken. These 9 Stoic lessons are not just ideas. They are a callback to power. Not the kind of power the world chases. Not fame, not validation, not applause. But the inner power of self-control, clarity, and silence. The power of intention over attention. The strength that doesn't need to be seen to be real. If this message hit you where it matters, drop a comment below. Write, "Silence is strength." Let me know which lesson shook you, which truth made you pause. Then, rewatch this video. Let the wisdom soak in, not just into your mind, but into your habits, into how you move, how you speak, how you protect your peace. Like this video if you felt it. Subscribe if you're ready to live with more clarity and less chaos. Tap the bell so you never miss a message designed to make you stronger, sharper, and more grounded every single week. This channel isn't just content. It's your space for mental discipline, emotional control, and pure Stoic fire. The kind of mindset that doesn't need approval, because it's built on purpose, built on values, built to last. And remember this, your silence doesn't make you weak. It makes you focused. It makes you strategic. It makes you dangerous in the best way possible. So stand tall, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one. Calm, centered, untouchable.